This meeting is called to order. Welcome to the May 3rd, 2016 zoning meeting here in the Vincent E. Grego Chambers. We will have first a silent invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please stand. Let me note for the record that Commissioner O'Malley is excused this afternoon. We need a motion to approve the minutes of the February 16th. We have a motion and a second. I'm sorry, we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We will move on to item 6, which is a public hearing. We'll begin with a presentation from staff, followed by public comment. Mr. Grotti.
Good afternoon, Chairman De La Cruz, members of the Board of County Commissioners. I bring to you today 3 cases on this agenda, and all 3 are for the same piece of property here in Bernalillo County. Agenda item number 6 is a remand from the District Court, Second Judicial District Court, of a special use permit for a planned development area. This is a case that was actually heard by the Board of County Commissioners back in September of 2014. It was then appealed to the court, and as a result of that appeal, actually as a result of some other action that the County Planning Commission took later, and a recommendation of a zone change for the same piece of property sometime later, there has been a number of negotiated meetings, or facilitated meetings, a very vigorous negotiation between the applicant, in this case, the surrounding community, and the neighbors that has taken place over a number of months. The remand is a result of that, and what has been negotiated is ultimately a site plan similar to the one that was approved by the board, but with a number of concessions, revisions, design change, and so on, that seems to be meet the requirements of both groups. So we're here today to hear that. If that moves forward, if that is approved, both sides have agreed that the other 2 items on the agenda, both appeals, A and B, can be deferred for 30 days to make sure that there is no other appeal action taken with regards to the first case. I can go into great detail, but I won't. Suffice it to say, I would stand for any questions regarding the process, the site plan, or some of the negotiations, but all of the parties are also here today and may want to say a few words on the matter as well.
And that'll be fine, but I would like for you to state the required motion if it is to be made.
Okay. In this case, the motion, if it is to be made, would be to recommend or to grant approval of the special use permit for the planned development area, which is CSU 2013-0039. And that includes both findings, conditions, and the site plan.
At this time, if there's someone that wants to speak in advance of the votes or the hearing, feel free to step forward. We'll grant that flexibility. Thank you.
Chairman Cruz, members of the commission, my name is Richard Leverick. I'm here for the applicant on this matter, and we're asking the board to approve this SU amendment. It's through a remand from district court, as Mr. Grotti has spoken about. We've made a number of changes to the site plan, some concessions, as Mr. Grotti has indicated. We did meet through a facilitated set of meetings. We actually engaged a third-party facilitator, met at the State Bar Center about 3 months ago, and were able to reach some agreements in principle that led to the new or revised site plan and to some fine-tuning of the conditions and the terms of the site plan that we believe both sides have agreed to now. This would be an amendment to the original site plan that was appealed to district court. With the approval and no appeal, we would then ultimately, after we defer today the straight zoning application and the appeals of that application, we would then withdraw that straight zoning application, and this would become the final site plan that gets approved for the site. I don't know if there's any questions. I did send a couple of proposed additional findings to Mr. Grotti yesterday. I think perhaps the most pertinent one is number 10 that we would ask the commission to consider, and that's that this request is consistent with the Bernalillo County Zoning Ordinance Section 18B23, and that the applicant has demonstrated the need to vary lot area by increasing density and the lot configuration in order to cover costs of development that relates to the arroyo and the open areas and the site fill. We're going to have to bring the site up to grade and do a number of improvements, bridge improvement at Tramway Lane, to actually make this site usable. It would also enhance the trail system within this area and the open network that allows the arroyo and the trail system to be used. And this project is in conformance with what the county, FEMA, and the MAFCA have been asking us to do. I believe I'm perhaps out of time, but we believe that this is consistent with the zoning ordinance, with the Section 18B23, and with Resolution 11686. And again, it is the product of several meetings with the Neighborhood Association, the Alliance of the Sandia Heights Association, and with Mr. and Mrs. Connor, who are here by council. So we would ask the commission to approve this, and with that approval, we would ask the commission to defer the other two items for approximately 30 days, and if no appeal is taken of this matter, then we will withdraw that straight zone application.
Thank you. So what is the will of the commission? Do we have a motion? Motion. Please state the motion.
Sorry, Commissioner. Thank you, sir. I have a motion to approve the item as presented by Mr. Grotti related to the items of discussion as approved by the groups that have agreed upon these.
Will that suffice, Mr. Attorney?
Yes, special use permit.
Special use permit, excuse me, I missed
Okay.
that part.
CSU 2013-0009.
CSU 2013-3009.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Mr. Chairman, I have a
Commissioner
question
Hart
before
Stevens.
we vote. So I don't know who the right person, you're probably the right person to answer this question. So I know in the past there was some question about the treatment of the arroyo.
Yes.
So I'm looking at the revised site plan, the revised site development plan. What's happening with the arroyo? Is that just going to be left in a natural state?
It will be improved per some plans that both the county, FEMA, and MAFCA have approved. It will include a walking trail area besides the bank improvements, which are substantial to bring the arroyo into a performing sort of improvement for drainage purposes. There will be a walking area. It'll be landscaped. We've agreed to the kind of, more or less, the kind of finished material to be used on the walking trail to discourage people that might use roller skates or roller types items that might go up and down a little bit quickly. We'll also be improving Tramway Lane. We'll be bringing in a lot of fill dirt to improve the area. We've agreed to certain kind of landscaping conditions. The bridge that goes under Tramway Lane into the arroyo will be rebuilt, essentially improved, so the drainage is diffused as it hits the arroyo. And then with the improvements within the arroyo, we should be able to better control what could be a bad event if there was a 500-year flood event. So that 2-acre parcel is now separately platted, but it's part of the project and it will be improved.
Okay. And then just one last question. That would be the southwest corner. I think it's listed as HOA Tract 1. What's going to happen there? Is that just going to be left as is?
I believe it's going to be a small piece of open space for this neighborhood.
Okay.
I call it a pocket park, but there's a couple small little tracts that are not platted for lot development that'll just be part of this neighborhood and improved.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. That reminds me, Julie, is there anybody else that's signed up to speak before we vote?
John Betac, Matt Myers.
Please state your name for the record.
I'm John Betac. I'm the president of the Alliance of San Diego Heights Neighborhoods. And we're here to support the SUP as it is proposed and to support deferral of the zoning for 30 days. And I'll be happy to stand for questions. There's been, as council has suggested, there's been a lot of negotiations associated with this.
Thank you.
Matt Myers.
Good afternoon, Chairman De La Cruz and Commissioners. I represent George and Kathy Connor. They were the original appellants, but as Mr. Grotti has indicated, we are all on the same page now. We appreciate the work of the county, of the developers, of all parties involved, and we look forward to this getting approved today. And if anyone has a question, I'd be happy to answer it.
Commissioner Talbert.
Not a question from Mr. Myers, but just a comment. I'm pleased to see that good work is being done between the Sandia Heights Alliance, Mr. Connors, Mr. Myers, along with the developer and his team. I think this is what this commission hopes for every time, is that things can be handled outside of us having to make any kind of ruling that goes away and both parties are dissatisfied. So to have you do what really I think most people should do in advance, which is meet, discuss, and actually negotiate, figure out a way that everyone walks away compromised and some level satisfied. I want to commend you for that. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 7, which was rolled into 7A and B. Do we have a motion for deferral?
I move we defer items 7A and B.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
Would that be for 30 days? Oh, sorry, I'll restate the motion. I move we defer items 7A and B for 30 days.
We have a motion to defer 30 days. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item 8, and that is the announcement of the next meeting, which will take place on Tuesday, June 14th, here in these chambers at 3:00 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. That was...